All right, you all know me. I'm Judith Swack. I'm the originator of healing from the body level up methodology. And many years ago, I discovered patterns that are infections of the collective unconscious. I call these patterns overtangles. The intention of this cultural brainwashing is to stop us from doing our soul missions, and stop us from leading a full life. And after the assault in Gaza, Eliora, who is Israeli but lives here in Maine, called me up and said, "Judith, we need to clear some overtangles out of the Middle East." So, all right. So I got on the phone with her and we tuned into the Middle East and we did some muscle testing to read the Middle East. And because she has family there, she was able to connect in energetically to the Middle East. So we did some muscle testing and found out that although I assumed that was what was running was the war overtangle, we muscle tested and found out it was the genocide overtangle, which in fact made more sense. So I thought, oh my God, I'm so tired of this, the genocide overtangle. So let's think about genocide. An overtangle is a cultural brainwashing pattern that basically extends through the entire world for like thousands of years and contaminates the thinking of humanity and screws with them. So genocide. The message in genocide is you're inferior and you deserve to be exterminated. Now, interestingly enough, genocide did not start with the Holocaust. Genocide did not start with Israel or the Arabs or Palestine or anything. Genocide started thousands of years ago. And last weekend, I was in Colorado at a NADAC conference, which is the National Association for Addiction and Drug Counselors. The man who opened the plenary address for the entire conference was an American Indian elder, and he basically gave the history of why the Indian tribes and their society is so degraded right now, and why they're having so much trouble with murdered, disappeared women and drug addiction, and not just alcohol, but drug addiction. And it's because the entire fabric of their society broke down, because guess what? He didn't say it this way, but what he described was genocide. So when the Europeans came and took over the land from the Indians and pushed them out, they basically tried to get rid of them. And he told a story about how in the 18-somethings, a senator actually put a proposal before the Senate and asked them to discuss the Indian problem. And the question was, should we exterminate them or should we assimilate them? So they decided to assimilate them by making them white. So they took all these Indian children away from their tribes and put them in white schools far away, where they didn't teach them, where they weren't allowed to speak their language. They weren't allowed to do any of their rituals, where they were disconnected from their entire community and the structure thereof, and basically tried to turn them white, thus destroying their culture and their society. And in fact, what he said was, it was illegal in this country to practice rituals or speak the native language. And they weren't given permission to do their rituals until like 1974. So if that's not genocide, I don't know what is. That was genocide. So it's everywhere. And I was at a conference a couple of years ago, and I was doing healing sessions with people. And this woman came up and said, "I loved your presentation. I presented on boundaries, and I want to work with you." And she said, "I'm from Rwanda." Now, in my mind, the word that comes after Rwanda is genocide, right? You don't think of Rwanda as a vacation spot or the source of interesting food. No. But I didn't say, oh, Rwanda, you mean like from Rwandan genocide? No. I said, I didn't ask her if she had genocide trauma. Nope. I just said, what do you want to work on? And so she tells me that she divorced an African man who basically was a male chauvinist pig, basically, and expected her to wait on him and take care of everything and make all the money. And he could sit around and drink and do nothing while she just took care of all these children and him and made the money and took care of everything. And she divorced him finally because she'd been in this culture. But she said, growing up, I had a fine childhood. Really, do tell. Yes, you see, it was in the culture that children would be shuffled around to different families in different parts of the country and live with them for a year at a time. And so at the time of the Rwandan genocide, she was on the other side of the country living with her aunt and uncle. And she had a fine life because that side of the country was safe. And she was raised and went to school, everything else. And she was fine. The only problem was she could never see her other family again because they couldn't cross the line where the genocide was. So she grew up, got an education, moved to the United States, married an African man who she then she then divorced him and had a fine life. The only problem is her mother made it to America when my client was 36 years old, showed up at her doorstep and basically said, hi, I'm your mother. I expect you to take care of me. And she's like, who are you? And she thinks that was good because basically she wasn't murdered. She survived. She was raised in a family that loved her. And so what? She doesn't have a mother. So what? She doesn't, bond to any of her relatives except for her aunt and uncle. She survived. So the Middle East blew up, and we're paying attention because it's affecting white people. It's affecting Europeans. It's affecting Americans because there's a large Jewish population here and Israel's a democracy and so on and so forth. And so it's getting our attention. Now, probably today, there's genocide going on in some country in Africa somewhere, but we don't pay attention to that because we don't relate to it, but it's there. And then a couple of years ago, I met a man from Peru who was a Peruvian indigenous person. And growing up, he told me about the persecution. He was persecuted for his body type, basically, because he was Indian. And apparently in Peru, they have a prejudice against Indians. I don't know who else lives in Peru. Maybe the Spanish, conquered, Spanish something. So if you have, and there's a particular facial structure for those particular Indians, including a particular nose type. So growing up, his aunt told him that if he didn't want to be persecuted and discriminated against, he was going to have to get a nose job so that he wouldn't look so much like an indigenous person from Peru. So she convinced him when he's a teenager to get a nose job. He got a nose job in Peru and it was botched. It was so badly botched, he could not breathe through his nose anymore. So he came to the United States and joined the Navy. And then he couldn't do the basic training because he couldn't breathe through his nose. And so they sent him to a Navy surgeon who corrected it and said he'd never seen such a bad nose job in his life. And he could only partially correct it. So to this day, his nose drips. So what can I tell you? When I talk about an overtangle and when I talk about a global infection, I'm not kidding. It's everywhere. Now, I hate these things. And This one's showing up. I'm so aggravated. But a client of mine said, oh, Judy, it's a good thing. It's a good thing it showed up now because the collective is changing, the spiritual system is shifting, and now basically it's coming up for processing. It's been revealed and people can see it, and it's made itself available for processing. So it's a good thing because it's not hidden so much anymore. And I said, well, thank you for making me feel better, because guess what? It's up and we're clearing it. Now, just to give you a really clear idea of what an overtangle is, I have a document I'm going to just review with you. So, overtangles, they're cultural brainwashing or toxic belief systems, and it's a contamination of the collective psyche that runs as an insidious subtext or undercurrent through people's perception of reality. Now, brainwashing is done at the unconscious level, you understand? So I found several different varieties, God help us, but they all have the same job, which is to stop you from doing your soul mission and living a full life. So how do these things screw with you? They send you a harmful message. So it sends you a harmful and illogical message or set of messages that you believe and don't even think about, because the message saturates the culture and the environment. But the message always boils up to give up, don't bother. And then it causes you to hide from your life so you don't really show up fully. And then it causes you to harm yourself and others. And it creates a story with characters, right? It's an evil but convincing story. And the theme of the story is it's hopeless, give up, don't bother. All right. And then it seals you in a pouch like a Ziploc bag. And it sends you mockery messages, insults you. Okay. So here's an easy one to see. There's an overtangle called the gender overtangle. The opening message is women are inferior to men. Do you see this message? Do you see it in the collective? Do you see it for thousands of years? Do you see it in every country in this world? Yes, you do. Is it true that women are inferior to men? Is that true? No. But guess what? That lie has been perpetuated and made solid, has been solidified into reality through laws, religious rules, and cultural norms. So even if you personally weren't infected by it and you personally didn't believe it, you'd be still affected by it because it saturates the culture. And in case you want to know who the characters are, the onstage characters, because this is theater, we have the damsel in distress, oh, and the white knight. Oh. You see this story? You see it in the literature. You see it on television. You see it in advertisements. You see it in stores. You see it in laws. And why is it evil? I believe there's evil. Why is it evil? Because it prevents people from achieving their full potential based on the gender of the body they chose. That's ridiculous. Souls don't have gender, right? So this goes, oh, I think I'll embody right now. This will be fun. I'd like to do my soul mission, live a full life, and grow and evolve. I think I'll take that one. Goes into that one, pops up and goes, wait, what? I'm a girl and girls aren't allowed to go to engineering school? What? Girls aren't allowed to be priests and give the sacrament in the Catholic Church? What? Why not? My arms work. My hands work. I can pour wine. Right? I can read. I have a soul that's connected with God. I can do this. Why not? Why aren't I allowed to? So that's an overtangle. So I would like to be able to wave a magic wand and clear this thing from the collective. Boom. I don't know how to do that. In reality, let's look at the gender overtangle. People are fighting to turn it over. And what's happening is if you fight it on the ground, you have to have enough people who don't believe in it to fight it and change the messaging and argue and change the laws and go to court and accuse people of sexual abuse and get it to stick. It takes a lot of effort on the ground until finally you get enough people who believe a different message to get to a tipping point where the new message is more dominant than the old message and takes over and the old message fades away. However, there's a lot of fight to get there. It was shocking to me to find out that the suffragettes in the United States, who basically lobbied for women to get the vote, were basically beaten and imprisoned and tortured, as were the suffragettes in England who started it. Really? What's that about? So, what we're going to do today is what I know how to do. And for what it's worth, we're going to do it together. And as much as we can, we're going to do it. So, Eliora is going to help. If there are questions, just put it in the chat. Eliora, you'll be tracking the chat questions. And I'll open for questions after a while. So the first thing I'm going to do is show you how we clear overtangles, which is always good for you to know. Kids, do this at home, okay? This is one of those things, yes, I want you to do this at home. So we're going to do something which is called a bell jar intervention. So we're going to set up a containment field. So everybody in your room, in your space, you seal the room in a sphere or a force field of holy light, even under the floor. So basically, whatever color comes to mind, basically pull it through your hands, sweep your hands around your room, and seal the room in holy light, even under the floor. So a force field of holy light. Whatever comes to mind, seal the room. Then we set up a bell jar. A bell jar is a glass jar that's used in science to demonstrate specimens. So it's a glass-shaped jar on a little wooden platform with feet, and then you have like plants and animals inside that you can look at. Except we're going to do a big one. So I put mine next to my desk, 3 feet tall, 3 feet wide, nice glass jar, nice thick glass, and with a one-way valve on the top, a rubber valve on the top, so that what goes in can't come back out. Okay. And then we added vacuum suction. So you turn on the vacuum suction. And we added a vacuum hose. Okay. And we're going to use it to suck the negativity out of the environment and yourself. Now we're going to summon in all humanity, past, present, and future, because this is a collective conscious infection. So we summon all humanity, past, present, and future, and everybody can have their own bell jar. And then we summon in all the helping spirits, right? Angels, guides, Jesus, ascended masters, I don't know, helping spirits. And then we're all going to say this prayer together. All right? Repeat after me. Oh God, merciful and compassionate one, please shine upon this overtangle and upon and throughout all of us, right? The full spectrum of your holy light. All right, now the room is filled with light. The light is coming through us. It's coming through every cell of our bodies. It's steam cleaning us. So now, anytime we find a message or an energy that we don't want, we just sit back and shovel it into the bell jar while we fill in properly. So now I'm going to show you the opening stupid message of the genocide overtangle, because I know you want to see this. All right, the subtext is I'm inferior. right? So I first discovered this pattern in a woman who wanted to get happily married. And she'd been divorced for several years from an abusive army captain. And she was afraid to even date. And as we were working our way through the Overtangle relationship equals war, she revealed that she felt inferior to everyone and everything. Now, she was an Enneagram 2 image point, and I suspected that she was comparing herself to everyone and finding herself inferior. So we transformed a layer of the Enneagram wound, but she still felt inferior. So I'm like, all right, this is something else. So as we explored what else was causing the feeling of inferiority, I had a vision of her ancestors as either Nazi soldiers rounding up Jews for extermination or as German Jews being rounded up for extermination. Because, I'm psychic, so I had this vision. And I heard the message, you are inferior and therefore you deserve to be exterminated. And it was such a shocking vision that I did not share it with her. I'm like, what, I'm going to blurt that out and tell her? But rather, I gave her homework to track the pattern of inferiority by listing out all the ways she was inferior to what. In other words, I'm inferior to rocks because rocks don't break. I mean, I thought, go as silly as you can and list out all the ways in which you feel inferior. So then I had to treat myself for the trauma related to the vision because it was very shocking. I had to do some tapping. And I realized that this stupid message was probably coming from an overtangle because people have exterminated populations deemed inferior in many countries throughout history. And we just went through a bunch of them earlier. All right. So this is the Holocaust. You know about that. They killed everybody they could think of. And then, of course, there was the Irish potato famine, right? And here's what happened in the potato famine. You might not know that. The indisputable fact that huge quantities of food were exported from Ireland to England throughout the period when the people of Ireland were dying of starvation. They were exporting food. And Ireland remained a net exporter of food throughout most of the 5-year famine, just for you to know. And the woman who wrote about it writes that Irish exports of calves and livestock, except pigs, bacon and ham, actually increased during the famine. And this food was shipped under guard from the most famine-stricken parts of Ireland because guess what? It was shipped under guard because starving people would attack the convoys and try to steal the food. So they actually had to, use guards to get them off of them. However, the poor had no money to buy food, and the government then did not ban the exports, and they just let them die. There you go. So, further exploration revealed that this I'm inferior theme came from an overtangle called the Genocide Overtangle. And here's the opening message. Oh, by the way, in case you want to know who the characters are in this story, there's the exterminated and there's the exterminators. Right? There's the people who get exterminated and there's the people who do the exterminating. Those are the two characters. So the opening message from the exterminated, the ones who get exterminated, is I'm inferior and therefore I deserve to be exterminated. So back to her. She felt inferior, so she didn't feel worthy of a good relationship. And she basically married an abusive army captain who was really abusive and mean to her. She felt she deserved it because she's inferior. I deserve to be beaten up. And so she basically reproduced this story in her relationship. I'm inferior and therefore I deserve to be exterminated. I deserve to be poor. So see the Irish, right? I deserve to be neglected. I deserve to be starved to death, right? See the Holocaust and, concentration camps. And I deserve to be experimented on, which is really ugly. And anything else, I deserve any other kind of bad treatment. And furthermore, I cannot speak, move, or ask for anything, right? Because you're lower than slime, basically. I'm helpless, less than human. I'm invisible. I'm disgusting and do not deserve life. I'm garbage, less than the dogs. I don't matter to anyone, including God. And in the Jewish version, you'll go to hell because you're not baptized. Yeah. Anybody remember the Spanish Inquisition? Hello? And then the Jewish version, they'll steal everything you own and claim it as theirs. All right. We're talking Germany and the Holocaust. Yes. And then I cannot live and be myself because basically I don't deserve to live because I'm inferior and other. And if I manage to survive after all that, I deserve a life of struggle and misery because, see above, I'm inferior. And I must teach this to my children and my children's children so that it is consciously perpetuated. And we will never forget, and I must do things that hasten my death. All right, so now, here's what I want you to do. I want everybody to tune into the collective. I want everybody to check inside yourself. And if you have a twinge, even a twinge of this feeling, and you ever had this feeling anytime in your life, I want you to grab that energy and I want you to throw it in the bell jar. And if you had ancestors, if you had Irish ancestors, if you had Jewish ancestors, if you had German ancestors, if you had Peruvian indigenous people ancestors, if you had American Indian ancestors, if you came from Rwanda, if you came from anywhere, I want you to go back in the ancestry and I want you to shovel this out so thoroughly that it never shows up again. And then I want you to reach for the world and I want you to pull it out of the world and throw it in the bell jar, right? Everybody in the world is here. They all have their own bell jars. Everybody, we're done with this. We're done. It's pathetic. No. Right? So everybody just shovel out. Really. I'm still feeling mad. Out it goes. And everybody fill in with healthy tissue where the crap used to be. Let the light fill you in. That's better. All right. Take a drink of water. We're cleansing. Good. Now, it turns out that in every overtangle, if you're infected with it, you play all the roles at different times with different people. So if you just cleared the exterminated, you wouldn't clear the whole overtangle story. So now everybody needs to step into the other side and become the exterminators. All right. So step in, as much as you would hate to believe that. You have to step in and feel the energy because it's in the collective. If you're infected, you have this too. So how did the exterminators get away with exterminating the exterminateds? Because they believe I'm superior, which is the opposite of inferior, right? I'm superior, and therefore I have a right to exterminate you. Now, does that make any sense? Like being superior entitles you to do extermination. Like I would think being superior entitles you to a lot of things in this world, and it wouldn't have occurred to me to put the word extermination after that. So you see how like sick this is? I'm superior and therefore I have a right to exterminate you? Really? And you cannot speak, move, or ask for anything. Back to this. I can't speak, move, or ask for anything, right? And if you manage to survive, the exterminators are saying, you deserve a life of struggle, misery, and mockery. And why is it doing? I'm doing this to get absolute power. All right, there it is. It's power. That's what the greed is about. Look at Hitler. Power. Right? And he rode on this story. The Aryan race is superior. Every other race that is not Aryan, which is every other race, deserves to be exterminated. And then he's going to take over the world, and he's going to be the emperor of the universe, and he's going to have all this power. Great. All right. I'm pulling it out. Everybody. Ooh. And I want you to keep cleansing until you stop feeling disgusted, nauseated, and upset. All the energy has to be out. This has to be gotten out. Because you see, this isn't coming from humans. This is coming from overtangles who are infecting humans. And they don't want to be infected, and they don't know they're infected. That's the problem with brainwashing. So all humanity gets to divest. So sometimes we can add a specific color. And if something's really nasty, we call upon the blue light of God's immediate presence, because that'll really blow everything out. And that color blue is the sky blue. It's the color of the sky. And it turns out that that particular color blue has antidepressant qualities, right? You know, when you're out in the sunshine, the blue sky, you feel happy. So guess what? We're going to pray again because this is really nasty. And we're going to call upon the blue light of God's immediate presence. So everybody pray with me. Oh God, merciful and compassionate one, please shine upon this overtangle and upon and throughout all of us the blue light of God's immediate presence. There, take that. And now cleanse this with blue light to make sure there's not even a smidgen or a twinge, not even a twinge. All right, now the addiction. Sometimes people infected with this overtangle have an addiction, that they recognize it's a problem and they're trying to clear it. But the strange phenomenon here is that people recognize that they have an addiction and that the addiction is a problem that they want to clear, but they act unconcerned and don't seem to put much effort into actually changing their behavior. So muscle testing revealed that although they are 100% motivated to give up the addiction, they're completely unwilling, 0% unwilling to give up the addiction. So I'm like, that's very weird. They're motivated and unwilling. What is that? And it turns out that the addiction is being used to compensate for the opening message. So let's say somebody feels they're inferior and deserves to be starved and neglected. And then they have addiction to sweets and carbohydrates. Right. So they think, oh my goodness, I'm gaining weight. I eat all these sweets. I'm getting diabetes and everything, and I can't stop eating sweets. I'm addicted to sweets. So I treat them for the addiction to sweets, and they'd still eat sweets. And typically, with healing from the body level up, we cure addictions and it's gone. Couldn't cure this one. What the hell? Turns out there was a reason that she was keeping the addiction, and she was using it to compensate for the starvation issue in the genocide overtangle. And then it made sense. So if anybody has an addiction, and addictions, you can have an addiction to a behavior, an emotion or state, or a substance. If you have an addiction to something that you think, I should really get rid of this addiction, but somehow I'm not going to do anything about it. If you have that, throw it in the bell jar. So this is the time right now to find all your addictions and throw them in the bell jar. Yes? How nice. Let's throw all our addictions in the bell jar. I'm addicted to this substance. I'm addicted to this behavior. I'm addicted to this emotion. Right? All right. 3 more people still have addictions they need to dig out. Come on, you know who you are. We'll give you the time. Really. And you can pull it out your front. You can push it out your back. Really, just clean it out. No addictions. Hi, Ben. Ben, you could get on a chair so we could see you. Just saying. Okay, good. All right, we're clearing addictions. Anybody has addictions? Oh, that feels pretty good. All right, all the addictions go in the bell jar. Because guess what? You're not going to self-destruct using an addiction. Because you're not inferior. Because nobody's soul is inferior to anybody else's, and it doesn't matter what form you're in this life. We're all here for the same thing. So, irrelevant. Poof, not applicable. All right, now you'll recall that overtangles cause you to harm yourself. And since this is a genocide overtangle, the name of the strategies for harming yourself are strategies for exterminating yourself or killing yourself off, right? And then strategies for killing others off, because remember, you're on both sides, the exterminated and the exterminators. So let's look at the strategies for exterminating yourself. But let's give it 1 minute here. Let's think. I'm feeling something. One more thing I need to say before we do this. Oh yeah, let's just make another sweep of the world. We're clearing ourselves, but let's sweep the world again. All right, let's start from South America, the tip of South America. Let's clean South America. Right? All right, let's clean Central America because they've got plenty of this too, right? All right, now we do Mexico, yes. United States. Canada. And Alaska all the way up to the North Pole. All right, now let's do the Pacific Ocean. You know, they have Polynesia, they have all these islands, Tahiti, right? We clean them out. All right, now let's start with Japan. God knows Japan. Anybody know why Koreans hate Japan? Anybody know? Because guess what? Japan tried to take over Korea, and they basically enslaved them and throw them in concentration camps and tortured them. Yes, so we're going to clear Japan. And I think Japan would have taken over China if they could have. And I think they were trying to get other countries too, because Japan was an imperialist nation also. Yes? Bang. Okay, bye Japan. Cleanse. All right, now China. Oh my God. Taiwan, right? Really? Hong Kong? Really? All right. The East. Korea. South and North. Boom. Vietnam. Cambodia. Oh my God. Genocide in Cambodia. Right? Remember that? My God. All right, now, I'm not really good at geography, so let's do the Philippines. Right. And Singapore. And now we're going to do all of China. And we're going to do Russia. We're going to do Afghanistan. Help me God, Afghanistan. We're going to do India. Oh my God, India and Pakistan. Help me God. Does anybody remember the partitioning of Pakistan, where all the Hindus had to leave and go to one country and all the Muslims had to go to another country, and they basically killed each other in between? I've treated people for that trauma. This day, there are empty buildings in both countries where the people who used to live there were the wrong religion for that area. Empty houses. It's horrible. Okay, we're cleaning India now. India, Pakistan. Oh my God. All right, let's do Africa. From South Africa, the tip all the way up. Africa. Okay, the tip. Morocco. Right. Let's do all the Middle East, all the Middle Eastern countries, right? All of them. Middle East, bang. Now let's do the whole Mediterranean. Oh, Greece and Turkey, right? Remember Greece and Turkey, major enemies through history, killing each other. I don't know why. Genocide overtangle, that's why. All right, Greece and Turkey, my God, let's go. Right. And then the Turks and that other population that got massacred. I'm bad at geography. All right, we're going to clear that out too. And Eastern Europe, goodbye. Out it goes. And Nepal, yes, which is in the east. And then we're going to do Europe. Oh, Europe, my God. Yeah. Starting from Rome, right? Rome decided to march up and basically take over Europe. Made it all the way up to England. There's still ruins here and there. They were very good at making concrete, and it's still lasting. That's impressive. That's a good thing. All right, let's leave the concrete and let's get rid of we're going to tame the barbarian hordes with our way of life. Yes, and then we get up to France. Oh my God. And then we get up to the Norway, Sweden, and Finland, right? Scandinavia. And let's take care of the Vikings. Bye. And now we do England. And its quest to like take over the whole world and civilize people. England. Right? And then, of course, there's Australia and New Zealand. How could I forget that? With all their native populations and everything. Yes. Let's do Iceland and Greenland. I don't know if they've ever had a problem. Maybe they were lucky. They lived, far away on a big giant island. But you know what? Just in case. And not that Antarctica has people, but let's clear it. And then let's clear the moon, shall we? God almighty, the moon. Right? Who wants to live on the moon? And they're all, all these different countries want to go set up on the moon and stake their territory on the moon. My God. Why? Did I miss any countries or any regions?
Former Soviet Union. There is more than Russia there. Armenia, Azerbaijan.
Yes, I was thinking Armenia. Thank you. I knew it started with an A, but you know what I mean. The Armenian genocide. Yes? Bang. Now, because I'm bad at geography, when I said Russia, I meant that entire part of the world, starting from like next to China all the way to Europe. Just because I'm bad at geography, but get it done. Get it done. Yeah.
Scotland, Ireland, Wales.
Yeah, I consider that the British Isles. So I was just looking at that whole island there and go clear it. Yes, massive.
Yugoslavia and Laos?
Well, I considered Laos as part of the Cambodia, Vietnam area there. And what's the other one you said?
Yugoslavia.
I considered that part of the Eastern European bloc. Yeah.
Myanmar and Indonesia and all the islands in between.
Yeah. Did I say Indonesia?
Asia.
No.
No.
You went as far as Singapore. You didn't do Malaysia, or I don't know if you did Thailand.
Yeah, let's do that whole area. I think I did pretty good remembering anything.
You did amazing.
Oh my God. Yeah, geographically challenged. I have an approximate idea of where things are. But also in Eastern Europe, it's confusing because the countries have changed borders and changed names so much. Right. And so has Africa, by the way. So anyway, we're done with that. Oh, I feel nauseous. All right, everybody, really cleanse. I don't want to feel nauseous. Let's really get this out of the whole world here. Oh, goodness. Huh. You know what? Let's take it out of the ocean because we're killing the animals in the ocean, for God's sake. May not be genocide, but it's just stupid. All the plastic that's poisoning things, the pollution, the global heating, and the killing the coral, and this population of fishes dying, and all. Let's cleanse the oceans, really. Let us not genocide the ocean flora and fauna, right? Let us not kill the planet. Oh, that's good. Let's not kill the planet, really. Oh, guess what? Because we're humans, we're superior. Oh, I get it. We're superior. And so any other animal form is inferior and deserves to be exterminated. Not a problem. Wow. Right? Who cares if we're losing species? They're going extinct right and left. We're superior. As long as we're here, we're fine. Yeah, that's it. Let's get sick here. Oh my God. Big. We're superior, so we can just do whatever we want to the planet. Right? Good, that needed to be done. I'm just listening. Good, that needed to be done. Okay, now we can go through the personal strategies for murdering yourself and get rid of it. Yes? Because we're done with that. All right, here we go. Let's see. All right, first of all, strategies for creating inferiority in yourself. Let us not ever run around feeling inferior, right? So, how do you create inferiority in yourself? Listening to the wrong people about their negative opinions. Yeah, don't do that anymore. We're done. Forgetting to listen to myself, causing the reaction that my body won't talk to me and I feel chaotic and disconnected. How common is this? Do you see this in Overtangle? I bet you didn't know this was an Overtangle influencing you. I bet you just thought that was you. No, this is not you. This is garbage. Get it out. Negative self-talk, negative affirmations? No. Do not negative self-talk. There's nothing wrong with you. Not giving yourself a paycheck. Guess what? I know people who've started businesses and they don't give themselves a paycheck. Then they feel resentful and they wonder why. And then they don't want to do the business and it kills the business. Not giving myself a paycheck. And then believing that when people don't ask about me, it means I'm inferior or undesirable. No, they're just busy and narcissistic. What do you expect? Out. Don't overinterpret. And then lie about how much power I have. That's overpower or underpower, right? Pretend you don't have much power and act powerless, or basically overstep your boundaries and overassert yourself. Don't do it. And then overreact to things. Don't overreact to things. And dig deep. If you have any other strategies for creating inferiority in yourself, dig deep. Because don't leave anything, not any corner, not any level, nothing. And then strategies for creating inferiority in others. Talking to them like they're dumb and what they're doing is wrong. And sabotaging other people from achieving. Yeah. Any jealousy? Out it goes. We're done. We're done. The only way that you can overcome an overtangle is to band together against it. Do not succumb to divide and conquer. No jealousy. We're here to support each other to be the best we can. Anything else that's running is an infection. Clean it out. And remember, if somebody else mistreats you and they act badly, it's because they're infected, not because there's something wrong with them or there's something wrong with you. Really, they're infected. Now, you need to protect yourself from people who are infected, but right now, we have everybody in the universe and everybody's dumping their shit. Nonverbal communication as ways of showing superiority and creating inferiority in others. Facial expression, tone of voice. Yeah. Contempt. We can just throw that in the bell jar, right? Contempt. Haughtiness. Disdain. And then withholding time and attention. You want to make somebody feel inferior, you make everything else more important than them and leave them feeling like shit. And then strategies for trying to exterminate or kill yourself. Overeating or eating the wrong things, right? That's kind of like the addiction I was talking about. And the addiction was thinking it was trying to do something good for you by compensating for the extermination message. But in fact, overeating will kill you too. Double bind there. So get that out. And then abusing your body by not loving your body and not sleeping and not taking your vitamins. Oh my God, how common is that? How common is that? Don't do it anymore. Out. Refuse. And criticizing your body and hating and judging it. Why would you do that? Your body's the vehicle for your soul to show up. And then refusing to get mental or emotional support. How many people here have trouble asking for help? Why would you have trouble asking for help? Does that make any sense? It's an overtangle. If it's stupid and doesn't make any sense, it's an overtangle because we all need each other. We live in community. We all need to help each other. We all have different skill sets. And this is how we thrive. We come together and help each other. So if you have trouble asking for help, it's an overtangle. Holding on to addictions. All right, we talked about that earlier. Starving myself. Okay, same thing about abusing your body by eating the wrong things or not. And then not taking care of myself by not finding love. Guess what? Our souls are made of love. God energy is made of love. And we are individual units of consciousness. We're love in physical packages. And we're here to connect with each other to synergize and help us promote our growth and evolution. So not finding love is a bad thing, just for you to know. And anytime you think love is dangerous or love is a bad thing or love is scary or there's something wrong with love, it's a rectangle. There's nothing wrong with love. So throw it in the bell jar. Love is a good thing, period. And then not taking care of myself by not exercising. I don't know why that's so common. Bodies love to move. Bodies love to exercise. Bodies love to be healthy and strong. Do something good for your body. Right. Let it run. And then pushing everyone away. You know, isolation is bad for you. We knew that. We knew that before COVID. COVID really exacerbated that. Don't push anyone away. If they're toxic, don't interact with them, but don't push people away as a general rule. And also, strategies for trying to exterminate or kill yourself, not clearing physical injury trauma. You hurt yourself, you keep walking through the injury, you never let it heal completely. No, you don't get it taken care of, you don't get it looked at. No. This body is the vehicle for the soul. You have to take care of it. And then not speaking up, staying mute, staying under their power. Well, there you go. Horrible. That's how the exterminators get away with exterminating, because they aren't opposed. They're not opposed because the people who are brainwashed into being the exterminated believe they're inferior, deserve it. Guess what? Get rid of that. Oppose tyranny. Right. Even on the smallest scale, oppose tyranny. And then, of course, strategies for trying to exterminate or kill yourself, withhold touch. That's horrible. Bodies need to be touched. It's the same isolation thing. Bodies need certain things, right? Good food, exercise, sleep, touch, affection, love. All right, we're going to give this one more minute because I feel people are really working this well. Really, every little bit. Out it goes. Done. You're done. You're done with this. It's done. All right. One more minute. Make sure you do not in any way try to exterminate or kill any part of yourself in any way, shape, or form. The end. Done. Refuse. Not going to do it. Okay. One more minute. I keep hearing one more minute. Let me tune in. What am I waiting for? I need to read the gallery. Yeah, I'm waiting for one more thing. One more thing. One more thing. Oh, right. Any way you think, you don't think to ask God for help. Snap. Right? Right. Let's get rid of that. And what is God? God is not a man. God is not a person. Anytime you have an internal representation in your unconscious mind that God is a tangible being, whether it's a human figure or whether it's an animal figure or a plant even, God is an energy. It's a life force energy. And all of us have packets of God energy in our body, which are called souls. And we're all part of the global energy here, which is the collective of God, and which unfortunately is contaminated. So anytime you don't think to ask God for help, and I'm talking source, divine source energy here. So I want you to go inside and look really carefully. Any place where you have a representation of God that looks like a person, out into the bell jar right now. Now. And God is not a burning bush either. And you can just shovel all the Old Testament representations of God into the bell jar. Out it goes. Because that was not God. That was something scary. Right. Which was, by the way, modeled after Zeus, if you think about it. Because what was the sort of earliest representation of God that looked like an old man in a robe? Hello, a robe. Nobody dresses in robes today. That was Zeus. Greek and Roman. So how many thousands of years ago? I'm not good at history either. Geography and history, my worst subjects. And who knew I needed them today? So how far back do the Greeks go? Like 3,000 years? I don't know. 4,000 years? 5,000 years? And then, of course, there's Egypt with all of their animal gods. So that goes, right? How long has Egypt been around? Like 5,000 years, 6,000? I don't know. We're going down. Right? Right. Right. And anybody here feels angry that God has been misrepresented as some bogus male character, peel out the anger too, because we're so done with this. It's like it never happened. Boom. There you go. God, not a male human figure. Right. Not a female human figure either, by the way. Right. Not a human figure. Better. Ah, that was good. Had to be done. I took Asian history, and I'm seeing all these goddesses, you know, and the Hindu gods with multiple arms and the elephant god and everything. Cute, not God. But listen, the unconscious mind, remember that? The unconscious mind isn't too good with abstractions and tries to make pictures of things so that it can connect to it. So if you want to make a picture of God that looks like an elephant, or if you want to make a picture of God that looks like a fig tree or a rose bush, I like roses, you know, go ahead and make one up. If it helps you feel connected to the source energy and you need a picture, but know that you made it up and know that it's just a tool for connecting with the feeling of the energy. But don't think it's the real thing. Understand it's a representation and it's just being used as a tool. Fine. Feel free to make anything up you want. Understand, though, you've made it up. Yes. Great. So God is an energy. Right. And that's why we ask God to irradiate the field with holy light, because God is holy light, and that's the power that eradicates this darkness. Right. Okay, good. I feel almost ready to do the next piece. What am I waiting for? One more minute. Yes, one more minute to clean out the wrong ideas of God. Oh, yes. Hey, how about all those people who've been genocided because people were fighting over their representations of God? How about that? Yes, let's make up a story about God. Let's make up a character and call it God. And let's think that our creation here is the real thing and yours is the false thing. And we're going to kill you because what we made up is different from what you made up, none of which is real. Right? 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 You ever wonder why do Christians kill each other? Don't they all believe in Jesus? Didn't they get the message? Jesus came in and said, God is love. Didn't get the message, huh? And Jesus said, we all have God inside of us. And so we all have a personal connection with God. And nobody's better than anybody else. Yeah. What happened to the message? Bang, in the bell jar. Poor Jesus. How can one type of Muslim be different from another? Don't they all worship Allah? And by the way, in the Islamic religions, God doesn't have any form or representation. And that's why they don't have any pictures of anything in their temples. They do beautiful mosaics because they don't want anybody to attach a visual imprint of some life form and represent it as God. So they have the right idea, still killing each other about differences in how they practice their religion. Still, it goes into the bell jar. Bang. Right? Who would think of this? Right? This is overtangle garbage. Right? One Christian sect is different than another, and they have a right to kill each other over it? Really? Really? I'm going to kill you to turn you into a believer. How's that going to work? Oh, my God. Yep. All right. Really, cleanse. Cleanse. I could talk for half an hour about that. I'm not going to. Let's cleanse. I could probably talk for 10 hours about that. I'm not going to. Cleanse. Right. And then feel the God, feel the energy inside you, feel your soul, feel the God inside, feel the source energy, feel the connection to the collective, feel the light. Yeah. So I feel compelled to tell you that if you know you have an overtangle infection and you can hear the message and you try to pull it out of you, if you don't call upon holy light to irradiate the field, the message won't come out of you. You actually require that level of energy to dissolve this type of stuff. So, of course, you have to call on God energy to do this. So, of course, the overtangles don't want you to think of God as an energy source of love and light. They want you to think of it as some scary archetypal representation of some human or animal or something, so that you stay away from it. So there's an agenda here. So everybody cleanse out the agenda. The agenda, right? The agenda to make God scary. You know how many people have negative energy on the word God? Right. You know how why would anybody have a problem with the word God? Because they've been brainwashed into thinking it's some horrible thing. Right. If you weren't brainwashed, you go, okay, God. And you know you're talking about some energy and you'd be connecting in with it. Or source, or divine source, whatever.
Judith,
Yeah.
I wanted to mention a comment that just came in because it's relevant right now. Call on Jesus, the Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said that. I just wanted to know if you wanted to say anything about that.
Nope, you can believe Jesus in any way you want. I use Jesus as a helping spirit to clear curses and all kinds of things. And we did call in the helping spirits. If you want to believe Jesus is the Messiah, I don't care, as long as you connect into his message of love and light. Yes?
Can you call on Jesus instead of calling on God?
No.
That-
Jesus is a subset.
Yeah.
But it's still a subset, so it's part of the whole. And it's a helping spirit that's available. Now, I'm not going to argue about the fine details of Messiah or what. As long as you can connect in with the energy, however you want to do it, go ahead. Right? But it turns out that there's a Messiah energy. And it turns out there were multiple Messiahs, not just Jesus. And the Messiah energy, I call upon that. That's the energy of truth, believe it or not. So when I'm checking for deception on muscle testing, particularly when we're working with these dark energies, and I want to make sure I'm not getting deception, I'll command the truth in the presence of God of the white light with the help of the Messiah energies. And bang, I'll be able to pull the truth out. Isn't that interesting? So there's Jesus, and there's Messiah energies, and maybe Jesus brought Messiah energy with him. Right? So he probably did. He probably knew this. Apparently, he spent many years in India meditating and learning Buddhism or something. And he came with the spiritual knowledge and came back and spread it into his area. So, however you connect with source, connect with source. Yes. And don't fall for any artificial forms. Good. Right. Okay. So I'm picking up that about 3 or 4 people are still feeling angry, and I tuned into it. And it's not the overtangle getting angry that we're clearing it, because it could, but it's not that. It's that it's feeling angry. People are feeling angry about this store and getting caught up on it. And it turns out it's a good thing, because anger can be used to give you the power to get rid of this. I get mad, I kill this thing. So I want you, those of you who still feel angry, I want you to channel it into getting rid of this thing. Help it give you the power, the energy, and the strength to push this out. Push it out. Right? Yes. Use anger as the power to get rid of this stupid shit. Yes. Oh, very good. Ooh, really good. Ooh, I'm tingling. Whoever's doing that, thank you for the tingling. Yes. 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 Now, I'm not going to go into a big discussion about why do we have these things to begin with in the universe, because I don't actually know. So I do know I don't want to be infected by them. I don't want my people to be infected by them. And it's bad that it's infecting the world. And that's as good as I can do right now, because I'm not God. I don't have the mind of God, and I am not that enlightened. But anyway, we're getting rid of it from us. Yes. Getting rid of it from the world. And we're doing the best we can. So origins, I don't know. Good. Ooh, that feels much better. Thank you, whoever gave me tingles. Thank you for the 4 or 5 people who used the energy to get these things out of us. Yes. All right, let's see what else we have. Okay. Where were we? Oh, strategy for trying to kill or exterminate others. Okay, we did that. All right, great. All right, very nice. Okay, good. So now make sure that you have stripped out any trace remaining of the exterminated character, any trace remaining of the exterminators, and any trace remaining of any concept of inferiority or superiority, because we're all humans, we're all souls in bodies, we're all here to do the same thing. So make sure you don't have any twinges of those themes still in you. Right, done. All right, now those of you who can muscle test and ask, do you have any pouch material from the entity itself? In other words, are you sealed in a Ziploc bag with goo that distorts everything you see? And if you do have a pouch material, and even if you don't, you can pretend, you basically feel around you and you'll be in this pouch. It's like a Ziploc bag. And so you use the edge of your hand like a razor blade of light, and you slit open the bag, whether you have one or not, what the heck, go ahead. Slit open the bag, peel it off you like a wetsuit, throw it in the bell jar, let the goo, whoosh out of you into the bell jar, and then rinse off in holy light and cleanse the goo and cleanse the adhesive and cleanse the stickum and cleanse the lens, because guess what? You're not going to see anything through this lens ever again. We're done. And then rinse off in the light and fill in with healthy tissue. Good. All right, everybody drink water. We're doing a lot of work now. Okay. All right, Eliora, do me a favor, tune into the group and muscle test the group and see if anything's left of any of the steps that we did. Yeah, it feels clean to me too. Everybody feel clean, feel better? All right, now, again, we swept the whole world. Even though I'm geographically challenged, everybody was able to help. I think we got all the corners of the world and the ocean. That was good. All right, so now the story is over. We're done with this story. And you step out into reality. And yes, I recorded this. And we step into reality, and now we're going to rewrite the message. So we're going to rewrite life is what? Life is not about inferiority, superiority. Life is not about extermination or dominance, for God's sake, or power or control or nothing. So everybody sit down in your clean self and just channel, literally channel, what is life about? Right. So you can believe anything you want, and that doesn't give you the right to kill anybody, right? Right. Nice, joy. Expression, that's good. Creating. Yes, look at this. Life is about creating. Very nice. Love, yes. Beauty, yes. Art, yes. Connection, yes. This is good. How clean is this? Joy and friendship, yes. Shivers, yes. Kindness, yes. Radiating light, yes. Yes, we radiate light. This is good. Connection and innovation, yes, because look, growth, evolution, and creation, right? Our souls here are here to experience life and grow and evolve, elevate, yes. Laughter, yes. Learning, yes. Wouldn't that be good? Growth, yes. Sharing kindness. Forgiveness. Yes, that would be a beautiful thing, right? Kindness and understanding, yes. Life is saying yes. Yeah. All right, good. Now, one more thing. I want everybody to write down anything else that comes to you as a learning. What did you learn from doing this healing? Right? Just what did you learn from doing this healing? And I want you to tune in, not just to yourself. What did you learn from doing this healing? But are you getting any messages from the collective? What did the collective learn from this healing? Because we cleaned the collective as well as our individual selves. So everybody take a minute to just write what comes to mind. What did you learn from the healing? It could be an insight. It could be a feeling. It could be something that you already knew, but now you know it at a deeper level. Could be a memory come up. Oh, spiritual allies and guides are very powerful this time. Good, because we need the help. Right? Beautiful. All right, Ben, did you get any learnings? Because you channel very nicely too. All right. Gratitude. Yeah, that'd be nice. Gratitude is good. All right. So unmute. Elior, did you get learnings? And Ben, you got some learnings? All right, unmute.
He's just typing, so unmute instead. Go ahead.
All right. So, Elior, did you get any learnings?
Yes. Love and light is the core of us, of who we are, and the word hope.
Very nice. And Ben, what did you learn from clearing this crap out?
We all live in the same world. There's room for everyone, and we have to start acting like it.
Yes, that's good. And somebody made a lovely comment about we are one. Well, we are one. We're one with the whole world. And harming others is harming yourself. Yes. Ding. Brilliant. Good point. And we all want the same thing. It's true. Peace, love, forgiveness, and to stand in as one. Yes, we do. I'm getting chills on that one. Thank you for the tingles. Ooh. Ooh. Tingles. Comment. I like the idea that not asking source for help and support is abusive to myself. Wow, right? Some things came through I had never thought about before. As you know, when you get into a group and you get this synergy, things come through that just, it lifts it to a whole new level. Right. We are important. Right? We are all creation. Right. 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 Putting the correct things in place, changing perspective, standing with spirit. Yes. Yes. If we all did that, we would have a peaceful and loving world. And the problem is we forget, but we don't forget. We're infected. We get infected. So today, I hope your takeaway message is if people are misbehaving in a global scale, it's because they're infected with an overtangle. Because at the soul level, nobody wants to be infected with this. At the soul level, we are all source energy, and we're all here for the same thing. So I hope that today, everybody was raised to another whole level of consciousness, and you can see these things better. And by the way, feel free to bell jar anything that sounds stupid. Anything that you suspect is overtangle or brainwashing contamination, just seal the room in holy light, set up a bell jar, turn on the vacuum suction, summon all humanity, ask God to irradiate the field with holy light, and then just cleanse this out of you. Cleanse it out of your life, cleanse it out of your house, cleanse it out of your business, cleanse it out of your world, cleanse it. Right? And I think that the more people who just bell jar stuff all the time, I think that'll chip away at it. Right? I come into work, I set up a bell jar. All day long, I'm going like this. I've been known to wake up in the middle of the night, go, oh no, set up a bell jar next to my bed and shovel stuff in the middle of the night. Right? So refuse to be infected. Refuse. Now that you know what to do, refuse and just cleanse. Stay clean. Yes, can do this day. All right. So that being the case, we bless everybody. We send everybody back to their respective life streams to benefit from, share, and expand upon this healing. Expand it. Spread it, expand it, okay? Yes. All right. Blessings upon us all. And it worked out eventually. Yes. All right. Be light.